So if you're using peptides or you're even thinking about it, this is worth the long ass time that it took me to make this episode. And I even made you a cheat sheet so you could keep it all straight. This is the one that I bet you've seen because it's marketed as Botox in a bottle, one of the most hyped peptide serums out there. And the peptides themselves, they were dead last on a list of 45 ingredients. So today I'm going to give you the 3 that are absolutely worth it, the 2 that are a total waste of your money. Ask me how I know. The one thing that beats every peptide I own isn't a peptide at all. It's If you feel like you woke up one day and your face fell off a cliff and now everybody's shoving another peptide serum at you and you have no clue which ones actually do anything, this one's for you. I'm 48. I'm a skincare founder and I have spent $1.3 million, I know, judge me, trying to stay hot as fuck for as long as I possibly can. And a scary amount of that money has been spent on peptides. So today I'm going to give you the 3 that are absolutely worth it, the 2 that are a total waste of your money. Ask me how I know. And the one thing that isn't even a peptide but beats every single one of them. And I have the studies to prove it. I'm Cynthia Garcia, your foul-mouthed fairy godmother. I grew up dirt poor in Appalachia, where I dumpster dived for makeup and got called ugly enough times that I finally started to believe it. Then I made some money and spent it figuring out how to be hot as fuck at any age. This is I'd Like to Thank Myself, the show where I try every procedure, topical peptide, and product, and so forth, so you don't have to, and then I tell you what's worth it and what to leave where you found it. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. And a quick disclaimer, I cuss a lot. That's just how I talk. Now, if that's not for you, that is 100% okay. There are a lot of great channels out there. But if you decide to stay, don't come at me in the comments because I just fucking warned you. And if you are staying, well, grab a drink. Like me, you're going to need it. And then I will stop yabbering because we have got some shit to talk about. And by the way, if this kind of thing is your kind of thing, then I would say hit subscribe because I'm here every Tuesday helping you look and feel hot as fuck at any age. So here's what set me off, and I just knew that I had to make this episode and tell you all about it. So a couple of weeks ago, I flipped over one of the most hyped peptide serums out there. I guarantee you've seen it. And the peptides themselves, you know, the whole reason you're buying the shit, they were dead last on a list of 45 ingredients. 45 ingredients, and they were last. I know. Now, here's the crazy thing. It's actually a really lovely formula. It's packed with antioxidants and moisturizers that would brighten and hydrate your skin. And it would be a really good product if it just wasn't sold to you as a peptide product. So if you're using peptides or you're even thinking about it, this is worth the long ass time that it took me to make this episode. And I even made you a cheat sheet so you could keep it all straight. The link is in the description. All right, now shut the fuck up, Cynthia, and let's get into it. So number 1, the very first peptide I want to tell you about, it has earned its spot. And I know you probably could guess it if you've been around me for more than 13 seconds. The peptide I will use forever is copper, or GHK-Cu. Seriously, I would marry this peptide so I would never have to be without it. That's how crazy I am. Why am I such a psycho? Well, lots of reasons. But when it comes to copper, think of GHK-Cu like a delivery truck. So it takes copper, which is an actual mineral, as you might know, and it carries it down into the streets of your skin, and your skin uses that copper as one of the raw building materials that it needs to rebuild and from itself back up, which matters more and more once we're 40 and beyond. Now, GHK-Cu is also the thing that I reach for after any treatment, laser, peel, microneedling session, basically anything that leaves my skin angry and or raw or both. It's what helps it heal faster so I can get back out here in these actual streets looking hot as fuck. And this is not some ingredient that a brand invented on TikTok last spring. No, ma'am. It has been studied for over 40 years. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie my face off and tell you that there's a shit ton of human studies because there isn't. But the ones that do exist are super promising. And what they found is exactly what I feel on my own face and what the women in the Vanity Club talk about too. So we all talk about fewer fine lines, firmer skin, bouncier skin, skin that holds on to its hydration and shows up with a glow like it means it. So the science and my mirror actually agree on this one, which makes it a keeper. 100% this one works. But before I tell you number 2, there's one mistake that is going to cancel out this amazing peptide that I just told you I was in love with. And some of you, Stephanie, I see you, you're making it every single morning. I know. So let's get into it. Here's the mistake. If you're using a copper peptide, do not layer it with your vitamin C at the same time. And let me tell you why that mistake is so expensive. Now, by the way, I don't mean any old vitamin C. When I say vitamin C, I'm talking about the classic kind, L-ascorbic acid. You know her, right? She's the one that lives at a really low acidic pH, so it can work. But that acid pulls your copper peptide apart, and then those loose copper runs around like a toddler in a pottery barn and wrecks the vitamin C right back. So it's kind of like, Anyways, you paid for 2 great actives to fight to the death. And the thing that actually lost were your face and your wallet. Now, the form of vitamin C that's not acidic and safe to use with copper peptides is THD vitamin C. Again, I've got this written down for you. There's a cheat sheet in the description. Go grab it. So for me, the first thing I put on my skin every morning is Rewritten's Show the Face Up serum because it contains THD vitamin C. Then I put my copper peptides right on top and they get along just fine. So instead of being in a cage fight, they're just having a sleepover. THD sits at a calm, neutral pH, so there's no acid to pull the copper apart, and the two of them end up being best friends. It's specifically the low pH, straight L-ascorbic acid kind that you can't stack it with. Got it? Okay, you got it. All right, now, before you think I'm up here on a pedestal reading labels like I came out of the womb doing it, let me bring my own self down to size, okay? I'm going to tell you something kind of embarrassing. I recently got played too. I did. I bought that one peptide I already told you about. I bought one of these hyped up peptide serums for $200, American US dollars, because the founder was gorgeous, not gonna lie, and the internet would not shut the fuck up about it. And I'm the woman who reads every label for a living. This is what I do. Do you know that I used this product for weeks waiting to be blown away? And do you know what it did? It moisturized. That's the whole review. It moisturized. A $20 product would have done exactly the same thing. So if these products and the marketing can get me, the one who's supposed to be immune and above this shit, you were never the problem. The marketing machine is just that good, but today we make you better. All right, so let's get back to it. Peptides. Now you know the peptide I would marry, the vitamin C that you never want to layer it with. You know that I got played too. Peptide number 2 is where the actual science really shows up. Now, again, you could bother memorizing this one or don't because I made you that cheat sheet and the link is in the description. This one is Matrixyl, which on a label reads as palmitoyl pentapeptide 4. I know, it's very fancy. These peptides like to get fancy. Anyways, it is a signal peptide, which is a fancy way of saying it's a NARC. Fine, it's a messenger. Still a NARC. It taps your skin on the shoulder and says, hey, make some more collagen over here. Oh. So how do we know it actually works? Well, in a placebo-controlled study, almost 100 women put Matrixyl on one half of their face and the other half got jack shit. The Matrixyl side came back with better fine lines and wrinkles and basically, wait for it, 0 irritation. I know. Less fine lines, fewer wrinkles, no irritation. And also, that's another reason I love it because so much of what I do to my face, it does not end well. I mean, there's peeling, there's burning, there's 3 days of hiding from the sun like I'm a vampire in the witness protection program. But this one peptide doesn't do any of that. So if you've got sensitive skin like I do, like you can breathe on my skin and it gets annoyed, this is a peptide that gives you something real and asks for nothing back. And that's rare in skincare. I mean, listen, that shit's rare anywhere. So for me, Matrixyl is a keeper. Okay, there's one more peptide and then two peptides that I wouldn't waste my money on again, and the ingredient that beats them all that's not even a peptide. So number 3 is Matrixyl's beefed up cousin, and it's genuinely good, but I want to show you the sneaky part. So Matrixyl 3000 and Synthase 6 are the upgraded versions of Matrixyl, and they are aimed more at firmness, and they target those deeper lines, not just those fine lines and wrinkles. Now they are messenger NARCs peptides working together, and I use them and I like them a lot. They make the keepers list for me, but there's an asterisk. I know, you knew there'd be an asterisk, didn't you? So almost every impressive number that you've seen on these two peptides, the 45% this, the firmer in 2 months that, it all comes straight from the company that makes and sells the raw ingredient. I know. See, there's no big independent study. It's kind of like the guy selling you the car writing his own inspection report. You get it? So I use them because they feel good and they play well with everything else, and I'm a psycho. For me, this one's a keeper with an asterisk. Now, before we go deeper, this is exactly the kind of conversation that happens inside the Vanity Club. I find a serum bearing its peptides at the bottom of the label, and I decide to tell all of you in the Vanity Club. I bring the actual name in the actual ingredient list, and I even name the products so that you can avoid them. It's a whole room of us women, just like you, reading labels so none of us get played. So if you're tired of guessing whether the thing in your cart is worth it, well, come into the Vanity Club, because this is the shit that we talk about every single day. The link is in the description if you'd like to join us. All right, number 4 on the list is the first one that gets all the hype and doesn't work. This shit's not good. Then coming up, I have another one that doesn't do shit either, and the one ingredient that outperforms everything else on this list that isn't even a peptide. Okay, so the first one on my hard fucking pass list is argireline. Now, argireline, or acetyl hexapeptide 8, I know. Remember, I put a cheat sheet in the description for you. Go get it. This is the one that I bet you've seen because it's marketed as Botox in a bottle. And every time I hear that phrase, I just think, that's a fucking lie. Why am I like this? See, I didn't come into this conversation a hater. I was like, Botox in a bottle? Say less. So I bought it more than once, and I rubbed it on my forehead, and I stood there at the mirror just rooting for it like it was my own kid at a spelling bee. Come on, you got this, Dorothy. You can't spell tree, but you got this shit. Like, that was me. That was me with this Botox in a bottle. And my forehead just kept right on being a forehead, moving and showing all my emotions. So here's what I now know. For a peptide to relax a muscle, it has to actually reach the muscle. And the studies show that almost none of this even gets past the top layer of your skin. Argireline is kind of like Fabio on the cover of a 90s romance novel. Do you remember Fabio? Do you remember that guy? Like this gorgeous total fantasy, and he's never ever coming to your house? It's the same with this peptide. It is not Botox in a bottle. Botox is Botox in a Botox bottle, and that's it. So I want to keep spending my money on the real thing. Thank you very much. Now, number 5 is this one's fancier cousin, and it's dressed up nicer and priced higher with the exact same problem, only worse. This one is called Snap 8 Acetyl Octapeptide 3. Go get the list in the description. All right, it's sold as the new and improved argireline, and it costs you more for the privilege of having it. But here's the thing. Argireline is a chain of 6 of these little blocks. Snap 8 is a chain of 8. And you think, okay, sounds good, right? That's the whole upgrade. They made the molecule bigger, and they called it stronger, except the entire problem with the first one was that it couldn't get into your skin. And a bigger molecule is even harder to get in. So they fixed a car that won't start by making it heavier, and then they charged you extra for it. Make it make sense. I couldn't find one solid independent study showing that it does anything close to what it promises. So both of these peptides are writing the same fantasy: save yourself some money. And listen, Linda, if you bought the Botox in a bottle stuff too, don't sit here feeling like you're a big dummy. You're not. Wanting your forehead smooth without a needle is the most human thing in the world. You didn't fail. You got sold a fantasy by people who knew exactly what you were hoping for, and that is not on you. Look, the reason any of this works on us, the pretty bottles, the founders everybody's obsessed with, the serum that's always sold out, is that we give a fuck. And giving a fuck is a beautiful thing, even if you don't like how I say it. That's all right. Say it in the comments. Somewhere along the way, we got taught that a woman who wants her face to look incredible and actually reads the label is vain or shallow or selfish. So we hide it, we downplay it, and we don't talk about it with our friends. And here's the thing you think in your own bathroom, but you would never say out loud to a single soul. You want to be the hottest woman in the room, and you're a little bit embarrassed by just how bad you want it. I get it. Me, I say it out loud whenever the fuck I want, and I don't give a single mouse fuck what anyone thinks of that. And you get to do the same thing. You get to want what you want and not apologize for it. Yes, I want to be hot as fuck. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't any of us? And I'm done explaining why I want it. And I'm definitely done apologizing for it. Because being vain and being smart aren't opposites, they're the same muscle. The vainest woman in the room is usually the smartest one because she cares enough to find out what actually works and refuses to be lied to about her own skin. Wanting to look like the best version of yourself was never vanity. It's self-respect. And reading the label was never vain. It's simply what a woman who respects herself and her money does. So judge me. I'll be over here hot, unbothered, and nobody's fool. All right, that's 5. Three that work, 2 that don't. And if this is the real talk you've been looking for, then I would say subscribe. Nobody here is selling you hope at a markup. And stay with me because the thing that beats all 5 of these peptides is still coming right up. All right, now I know this is a lot to hold in your noggin, so I made you a cheat sheet. I know you're like, yes, girl, you won't shut the fuck up about it. I know you made me a cheat sheet. Whatever. I put the 3 peptides worth your money, the 2 to skip, and the trick for reading a label so that you don't get played in the future, all in this cheat sheet. It's totally free. The link is in the description, so go grab it. And speaking of labels, let me give you the 10-second version so that you can know what you're buying anytime you pick up the bottle. And then the last thing I'll tell you before we wrap up is the one anti-aging ingredient that beats every peptide on this list, and it's not even a peptide. I know. All right, so here's how to tell in 10 seconds whether your fancy peptide serum actually has peptides in it. Look at the ingredient list. I know. You're like, duh, bitch. I know. Let me explain. An ingredient list is ordered by how much of each thing is in the bottle. Most at the top, least at the bottom. Does that make sense? So you want to look at the ingredients and you want to find the peptides. Now, if they're at the top, they're 3rd, 4th, 5th, cool, that's the real deal. If they are dead last, like number 45, and they're down there hugging the preservative, you didn't buy a peptide serum. You bought a nicely scented moisturizer with the peptide waving at you from the back of the bus. And now you'll never not see it. So save your money. Thank me later. All right, and if you're sitting there thinking, okay, but what exact products do you use, Cynthia? What order do I put them in? What can I not pair them with? Well, that's what we talk about in the Vanity Club. Listen, I give you everything I do, my whole routine, the products, the layering order, plus there is a room full of women comparing what's working on their real faces instead of a marketing box, whatever that's called. The link is in the description. Come and join us. Now, since you obviously care about looking hot as fuck for a lot longer, let me tell you about the one thing, the one ingredient that I keep coming back to after testing, I swear, what feels like every product that's ever been invented. I've invested the GDP of a small nation, and I've ended up with some, we'll call them interesting results. Interesting is a good word, don't you think? It's a good one. All right. So the one thing that beats every peptide I own isn't a peptide at all. It's tretinoin. Did you see that coming? Did you? Susan, did you? And here's the thing. I know it's the least sexy ingredient that I could give you. It's not expensive. It comes in a little prescription tube or bottle that's been around forever, and it makes your face peel like a snake shedding its skin for the first few weeks. And it outperforms every gorgeous, expensive peptide on my shelf, which kind of annoys the shit out of me. But here we are. But I refuse to hallucinate a result just because the marketing was convincing. I have done that before. Remember the whole forehead thing? Okay. So tretinoin is the only thing in this whole episode that gets right inside your skin cells, and it does two things at one time. First, it turns your collagen production up, which is what we all want, right? And it shuts down the enzymes that spend all day breaking down the collagen that you already have. Now, that's why it's the only thing that I've talked about today with 30 years of real studies and actual skin biopsies behind it. True story. So it's not just a pretty label and a number from the same company that sells the ingredient. So at this point, you might be like, well, shit, Cynthia, why would I buy peptides at all? Well, great question. Because the good ones were never trying to do tretinoin's job. If tretinoin is the foreman telling your skin to build, the peptides are the supply line at the curb. Copper drops off the new raw material, the signal peptides, NARCs, hands the crew the work order for more collagen, and it builds from there. One gives the order, the other brings the materials. Do you get it? And if you build your whole routine on peptides while skipping the tretinoin, the sunscreen, and the other boring fundamentals, you're decorating the roof while the house is on fire. Now, for me, I use tretinoin 3 nights a week and I buffer it, which means I do my skincare routine. I put my moisturizer on last and I let it sit there for about 10 minutes while I go off and do something else. Then I put the tretinoin on, and that works without setting my face on fire. And listen, if prescription tretinoin is too much for you, or you don't have a doctor that'll prescribe it, that's where Retinol and Retinal with an AL come into play. You see, they're in the same exact family. They're just a bit more gentle because they have to convert a step or two inside your skin before they turn into the active thing. Tretinoin skips that whole process because it is already the active thing. Now, if it were me and I was brand new to all of this, I would not start with tretinoin. Trust me on this. I would start with retinol and I would work my way up. Got it? All right, that's it. That's the 3 peptides that I love, the 2 that I will not waste any more money on, and the 1 ingredient that earned a permanent spot on my vanity a long time ago. And that brings us to a toast. So grab a thing. Listen, you guys have toasted. You've toasted with, somebody said chicken foot bone broth. Okay. Somebody toasted with a protein shake. Somebody had straight tequila. I love it. So grab whatever you've got and let's make a toast. A toast. I'd like to thank myself for wanting every one of these to work as badly as you do, but refusing to lie to you about the ones that don't. A toast for handing over $200 for a glorified moisturizer and telling you about it out loud instead of pretending I'm smarter than that. I'm not. I got played. Toast for being vain as fuck and nobody's fool and never apologizing for either one of them. For spending the money and the time and the attention on myself and never letting a single soul make me feel selfish for it. For understanding, finally, that none of this was ever really about a serum. It was about a woman who refuses to disappear. A toast to every woman who stood at a beauty counter feeling stupid for not knowing when so much of this industry depends on keeping her guessing. You were never stupid. You were just sold hope at a markup. And to the women who came before us, who were taught that at a certain age, wanting to feel beautiful was something that you were supposed to outgrow. And to the girls coming up behind us who will never have to be told they're allowed to want more because they grew up watching us refuse to want less. To who we were, to who we are, and to the hottest fuck versions of ourselves we're becoming. For that and so much more, I'd like to thank myself. Cheers. Get past my rose garden here and toast myself. Cheers. So good.